It is June 27. I know at least two foreigners who do a very specific but very important job. They travel around Europe, look for used but still good ambulances, buy them and send them to Ukraine. People spend all their free time on this, use their life savings, live on the road for weeks in order to find, buy and send ambulances to Ukraine. These machines are a very big deficit in some regions of the country. In wars that were under the occupation of the Russians, while fleeing, ordinary occupiers stole everything they saw. I once told about the fact that they even stole bottles of vinegar from a store that had been robbed the day before they escaped. But the Russian state stole more deliberately. From the occupied territories, things of real value were taken out en masse: grain crops, harvesters, tractors, fire trucks and ambulances. The number of stolen ambulances runs into hundreds of units. In some cities, the Russians did not leave a single working car. The need for ambulances is so great that often cars arriving from abroad are given to hospitals without even being registered with the Ukrainian police. They drive with Belgian, Polish or German license plates. There is simply no time to redo these plates. Cars are needed right now. These ambulances save the lives of dozens or even hundreds of civilian Ukrainians every day. You know, this situation with the ambulances and other stolen items, in my opinion, best describes modern Russia. Look, the Russians seized several districts of Ukraine, declared them as a part of Russia, and declared all the residents of these territories as Russian citizens when they took everything from them. Moreover, this looting was approved at the highest level, carefully planned and conducted under the supervision of officials from Moscow. The harvested crops were later sold to other countries. The combined harvesters were also sold to farmers, and the fire trucks and ambulances were distributed among Russia's own regions. In other words, Russia is a state where looting is not just a norm, it is one of the sources of its existence. I used to wonder how during the Second World War German diplomatic missions continued to operate in many countries. How could the governments of these countries, knowing or at least suspecting the atrocities committed by the Nazis, allow these Nazis to engage in any form of diplomatic activity? I am no longer surprised by this. I have seen mass graves with civilians who were killed simply because they spoke Ukrainian. I have seen a torture chamber set up by Russians in a kindergarten. I have seen cities completely destroyed by Russian bombings. I see these ambulance vehicles from all over the world being brought to us as replacements for what the Russians have stolen. And at the same time, I know that Russian embassies continue to operate in Europe, Africa, Asia, and America. And just like in the 1940s, some politicians went to receptions hosted by the Nazis. Now other politicians attend parties hosted by the Russists.